How to write an eye-catching essay introduction. For Beginner's Guide to Write Essay Successfully. Ideas to make a good essay introduction. Number 1 ideas is, begin with an unexpected fact. It's one of the most tried and true methods for attracting attention, but it still works. First, introduce your material by presenting statistics that are sure to impress your audience. The best part is that the statistic doesn't have to be directly related to your industry. You can find a new angle to connect it to the larger story you're trying to tell. This is yet another highly effective strategy for immediately picking your reader's interest. It's also one of the most common marketing writing introductions. This makes sense. It introduces the essay's overall theme in a light-hearted manner and gives the reader something memorable to remember. The true reason that using facts or figures as an introduction works is because it stimulates our emotions. Number 2 idea is, tell an unusual or intriguing story. Individuals form bonds with one another. We enjoy hearing about people's personal experiences, whether it's a touching story or a hilarious joke. It will be easier to captivate your readers to want to read more if you can tell a story or allow them to put themselves in your shoes. It doesn't have to be a typical human interest story. Some of the most effective infographics and other visual assets pique readers' interest by posing a provocative question, such as, is 30 the new 20 for Olympic athletes? Number 3 idea is, the story follows a simple pattern. Track and field athletes are getting older, aren't we all? The subject appeals to individuals who refuse to admit that their prime has passed them by. It's an educational piece, but the story here grabs your attention immediately away and entices you to continue reading. Another effective way to use this strategy is to say something along the lines of, take into account the following, when you're walking down the street. The reader is pulled into the story's core by urging them to imagine themselves in a scenario. Reading about other people is the only thing that people enjoy doing. So you're taking your readers on an introspective journey to become the main character in this scenario. The problem: would you rather fight a single duck the size of a horse or 100 ducks the size of horses? Asking questions during an introduction can be a very effective strategy. First, it presents the reader with a hypothetical scenario and asks them to consider their reaction and apply their own lived experience to the information presented. Then, you immediately engage the reader by asking them to apply their own judgment or opinion to the subject at hand, in our case, whether they prefer fighting with an enormous duck or a small army of tiny horses. Number 4 idea is, setting the stage. This is referred to as setting the scene, and it may be a highly effective technique of drawing the reader into your story. The author uses this method to set the tone for what happens at the start of the work and what the reader can expect. This method can be highly effective when working with emerging themes or topics with major newsworthy aspects. In terms of editing, this method has a lot of benefits for the writer. It allows you to pick and define a clear opinion on a topic and instantly take a contrary stance on difficult issues. It also aids you in manipulating the emotions of your readers by summarizing and stressing the positive and negative aspects of a story as you see fit or to support the points you want to make. A well-written introduction can assist your readers to comprehend why what you're about to say is vital, as well as providing a firm basis in the often nuanced background information needed to understand complex, multifaceted topics. Number 5 idea is, inquire about their desire to attain their objectives. Focus on something specific that your audience desires. If they truly desire it, they will likely continue reading. If they do not, you have just filtered out a reader who isn't a suitable fit for your material. Here are a few examples of how this could be applied to different sectors' content. Do you want the leads to come to you instead of you having to call them cold? Do you want to consume tasty meals while being in shape? Do you want a resume that will get you a call? Number 6 idea is, take a stand on a topic that is important to you. This method of introducing content, while controversial, can be extremely effective. Keep in mind that controversy might range from butter storage to religion and politics when using it to introduce your content. You can be confident that your issue will capture the interest of your audience if you can locate something in the middle. On the other hand, if you push your audience too far, you risk alienating them and ending up with a high bounce rate or no engagement at all. Number 7 idea is, demonstrate what success looks like to them. More than any other industry I can think of, the fitness sector excels at using the attention-getting hook. Before and after images of someone who has changed their appearance are a common tactic that has worked successfully for the industry because they are shocking and they represent potential success. That potential will be obvious to your audience right away. They pay attention when you understand what they want and show them that it is within their reach. Finally, so there you have it, 5 simple techniques to pique your audience's interest right now. However, you must, of course, deliver on what you promised in your introduction. You can utilize excellent headlines and hooks, but if your content isn't valuable, you're missing the point and disappointing your readers. Tips for writing an introduction. The introduction is the first thing your readers will read after the title and abstract, therefore, it's critical to make a solid start. The beginning is your chance to persuade readers and reviewers that your study topic is interesting and that your paper deserves their time. The introduction serves a number of functions. It provides context for your research, introduces your topic and objectives, and provides an outline of the paper. A strong opening will set the tone for the rest of your article, encouraging readers to move on to the methods, findings, and discussion. We'll show you how to write an effective introduction in this article. These guidelines are primarily for complete papers and letters that present original research findings. Although some of the suggestions are better suited to papers in certain subjects, the themes are universal. Begin broad and then concentrate your focus. Briefly define the general research area in the opening paragraph, then refine it down to your specific focus. This will assist place your study issue in the context of the larger field, making it more accessible to a wider audience than simply professionals in your field. Describe the goals and importance of the project. This element is frequently overlooked in papers that are rejected for not demonstrating the importance of the topic or lack of clear motivation. Explain what you aim to accomplish and why your reader should be interested in seeing if you succeed. The basic structure can be as straightforward as, we want to accomplish X because it will lead to Y. Cite everything you can, but don't go overboard. You should thoroughly review the most recent and relevant literature relative to your subject once you've limited your emphasis to the exact topic of your inquiry. Remember, you're not writing a review article, so your review of the literature should be thorough but not excessively extensive. If your introduction is excessively long or overflowing with citations, citing review articles rather than all the individual papers that have already been covered in the review may be a viable option. When making a point, don't use too many citations. Many studies have indicated a strong relationship between A and B, says the phrase. Unfortunately, this statement references far too many studies at the same time. Although sources provide a decent summary of the topic, this statement lacks context and explanation for these previous studies. If all of these sources are worthy of citation, they should be addressed in more detail. A significant relationship has been established between A and B in males, women, and children, for example. Clearly state your research question or hypothesis. In empirical scientific research, stating a hypothesis might be a useful way of structuring the study. For example, instead of saying, in this study, we show that A is connected to B using method Y, you may say, in this study, we assume that A is related to B, and we test this hypothesis using method Y. Instead, you could start with a study question in the informal sciences or exploratory research. The following research issue is examined in this study. Is A related to B? It's worth noting that the research question doesn't have to be stated in the interrogative form, with a question mark. Instead, it can be written as a declarative sentence. In this study, we explore if A is related to B. Hypotheses and research questions are useful because they assist in shaping the work and acting as signpost phrases that lead readers easily through it. Give an overview of the paper. In some fields, an organizational overview is more prevalent than in others. For example, it's very frequent in technology, but not so much in medicine. If it is appropriate for your topic, try offering a section-by-section synopsis of your paper in the last paragraph of your introduction. As an example, we present our data analysis methodologies and datasets in Section 2. The results are presented in Section 3. In Section 4, we discuss the findings and compare them to those found in the literature. Finally, in Section 5, we provide our findings and make recommendations for further research. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel Thesis Helper. Thanks for watching.